All right, so another day, another banger from the European Union. We have the former EU official, Thierry Breton, which was sanctioned last week by the Trump administration. He's not allowed to visit the United States. Clearly a human right violation for him. Although, I don't know why he would want to visit such a horrible place like the US. I heard they have guns there, and they have something even worse than guns. They have free speech. Well, why would a European person that's into decency and politeness want to go to such an awful nation? But regardless, he viewed it as a threat. He viewed it as the European Union is under attack by the evil Trump empire. And he is encouraging the European Union to double down. It's like, no, we must have strong, robust censorship on social media because it's our digital space, even if we're using American infrastructure in order to create that space. Now, most of the conversation online is like, well, should the European Union be able to censor? It's like, of course they should. I mean, they built the internet, right? Like, everything that's in the digital space wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for Europe. So absolutely they should have common sense censorship, common sense speech control. Meanwhile, the people in the United States are like, no, this is our internet. They shouldn't be able to censor them. We should be able to sanction them. But what's the conversation that no one talks about? And this one is important, right? Let's say that the European Union should be able to censor it. Because at the end of the day, the Soviet Union also was censoring Radio Free Europe. Did they have a right to censor Radio Free Europe? Yes. I mean, the Communist Party in Soviet Union was the de facto leaders of the nation, right? And if they wanted to do authoritarian shit, they actually did have the legitimacy to do the authoritarian shit. So legally speaking, right, like when you were a Soviet citizen, you were actually banned from listening to Radio Free Europe because it was capitalist propaganda trying to subvert the pure minds of the Soviet workers. And so the question shouldn't really be, does the European Union have the legal authority to censor the internet? Because yes, they can sign a piece of paper, put a stamp on it, the internet gets censored, right? And people get fucked and deal with it. What are you going to do? Are you going to protest? Huh? Like, are you going to do the thing? You're not going to do the thing. You're going to be a good little bitch and shut the fuck up. Because, like, the people in power that you pay for are your betters. And if they say you shouldn't go on the internet, then you shouldn't go on the internet. So, legally speaking, yes, they can sign the piece of paper. Morally speaking, though, right? Like, from a moral point of view, should a politician decide what you, as a grown adult, can view on the internet? Yes or no? The answer is a little bit more complex, right? Like, they always use child porn in order to get the foot on the door. It's like, well, if we ban that, can't we ban political opinions as well? And the answer should be no, because we're not retards and we don't think in black and white. And it's like, well, if this thing happens, then you should also ban political opinions. No. Like, you can have certain things that everyone in Europe agrees with, right? Like banning CP, for instance, everyone agrees with that. But nobody agrees that you should ban political opinions, or at least most people will agree until it's their political opinions that get banned, right? The reality is that a free and just society does not ban and is not afraid of people talking to each other. If we can have societies on planet Earth like the United States of America where people are actually allowed to talk with each other and the society isn't burning, is not taken over by the Russians, is not being dominated by the Chinese, right? Like, the nation is still functioning, and it's also a place where people want to go, like, especially when you look at Europe, right? Like, people move from Europe to the US, rarely the other way around. Then if it is possible, there is absolutely no justifiable excuse for the European Union to try and censor the internet. Give me a fucking break, right? Like, in 2025... they have the technology in order to suppress violence if it happens without having to dominate the online space. Like, for the last 2 decades or so, the internet wasn't censored. The European Union existed. The world didn't implode. Putin didn't move his capital from Moscow to Berlin. And so it is possible, right, for the internet to be free. And so the question has to be, why is it that the European Union now wants to police the internet? And the answer is, well, look what happened. Look at the tragedy. Mr. Thierry Breton lost his job. I mean, he was an individual that was very well paid out of the taxpayer money. I don't know how much money he was making, but I know that a person that manages to put their fat ass on an EU chair makes around 10,000 euros a month. And so that's a lot of prestige, and they don't want to lose the job, right? And the only way that they can lose the job is if you have people talk about political opinions that favor someone else. And so because they can't have that, they need to push for censorship. But imagine how it would sound if they say, yeah, we actually like our positions here. You know, we actually like gorging ourselves and making our families fat out of your taxpayer money. And so we would rather we censor our opposition so that we never lose our seats. It sounds really bad, right? So they have to sell it that it's for your own good, right? It's to crack down on misinformation, disinformation. It's to crack down on the Russians. Like, what if a Russian comes here and puts his ass on the seat, right? And then he takes your taxpayer money. We don't want that. They want to create the idea that the European Union is just an economic zone. Like, it's just a plot of land where transactions happen until the Russians come along. Like, if you have a couple of people on a dinghy coming from Somalia and leeching off welfare and shit and getting paid into hotels, like that's okay. If you complain about that, you're a racist. But if you also happen to vote incorrectly in Romania, you're a Putinist, right? Like, both of these arguments have to go hand in hand. At some point, you may say that there might be some misinformation happening if people like have these different schools of thought of economic zones and patriotism going side by side. But clearly, we're not going to investigate that. Instead, what we're going to investigate is the audacity of the United States from suspending the visa from some of the Eurocrats that have been responsible for some of the worst censorship that Europe has seen since the Nazis. I'm not even joking. Like, the level of censorship that happened, especially during the pandemic, was out of this world. Like, even the Soviet Union weren't that blatant with their censorship. But on top of that, most of the people sanctioned and had their visa restricted from the United States were hard anti-Trumpers. Like, this man himself, when the owner of X, Elon Musk, decided to interview Trump, he was actually extremely concerned about this and sent a very stern letter to Mr. Musk to be careful about what he is doing. Because at the time, Donald Trump wasn't the president yet, and he was banned from every single social media platform. And that was very dangerous for their bureaucracy to allow the president of the US to come back on social media, right? Especially on the mainstream social media like X. And it freaked the European Union out. And so the question has to be asked, why is the European Union freaked out about American elections? Like, the way they're selling it is that it's for my benefit, right? Like, I, as an adult person from within the European Union, shouldn't be allowed to see the interview between Elon Musk and Donald Trump. Why is that, though? Like, what is the harm? You know, I saw it. Like, what was I damaged? Should I ask for payment? Like, what damage was done to me because I saw that interview? And so the actual question that I want the European Union to answer to its citizens isn't whether or not the European Union can censor the internet. It's, why does it need to censor the internet? Like, is the harm so big that we cannot have a free and just society without censorship? And it's not like censorship of a couple of things, no, like actual political opinions, actual political ideas. Like, for instance, Donald Trump is so dangerous that we should actually use the American military, we should actually use the American social media companies, we should use their toys, but we should completely flat out reject their values. And by rejecting Donald Trump, you're not rejecting him as a person, you're basically rejecting half of the American taxpayer that actually ends up paying for their military, that ends up fighting in their military. How does that make any sense? When is the European Union going to answer to some of these legitimate criticisms? Instead of talking like, can they do it or can't they do it? Let me know what you guys think, though. And as usual, I'll see you in the comment section. Take care.